Everybody. We're going to be talking about Slaking. So this is a very this change video is going to be very, I wouldn't say contentious, but everybody has their own little headcanon about how you should buff Slaking or make it usable and whatever. And in a ROM hack where I actually have freedom to like program things, I would be happy to keep Truant and make it better. For example, I've seen some ROM hacks do like, oh, it can use status moves on the Truant turns. It just can't attack directly. I like that a lot. I really like that. But in actuality, it doesn't work in a hack like this because I can't program that. And the power levels in this hack are immensely high, okay? Literally every single Pokemon is extremely powerful and strong and viable and good and fun to use. And so if I had kept Truant on Slaking, even with 900 base stat total, it would be both bad and OP at the same time. And what I mean by that is, if I had Slaking, say I give it 770 base stat total as opposed to 670, right? That would make it extremely overpowered in some situations and extremely garbage in other situations, and that's not a good Pokemon. Why would you ever use that Slaking over any of the other pure normal types, of which there are many amazing ones now? So if I go to the list of them, Slaking has a decent amount of steep competition. He has competition, especially with mons like Snorlax. Also, something I need to mention, you should go check out the Snorlax video because I did edit it. I removed Snorlax. I removed Unaware off of Snorlax, and I gave them Comatose instead. And you can check like the pinned comment and the description for why that's good. I think logically it makes a lot more sense to have Snorlax have Comatose and then Slaking gets Unaware. I didn't really think that through. Despite all of the prep I've done beforehand to avoid stuff like that, it's going to happen every once in a while. So, excuse me. Yeah, that's the Snorlax issue was resolved. Okay, so Unaware is great, which I'll get into the actual usability of these abilities in a second. I promise I will. But where's this list of pure normals? Here we go. There's 18 of them. Okay. Slaking's biggest competition is stuff like Snorlax, Ursaring. Ursaring is big competition because Ursaring has very similar stats. Ursaring is relatively bulky, has a good HP stat, and is very powerful. Actually, Ursaring is very bulky with Intimidate. However, without Intimidate, Ursaring is not as bulky. So basically, what am I trying to say here? Tough Claws Ursaring is stronger than Slaking by a long shot. It's also 3 points faster than Slaking is. They have similar move pools as well, so that's not really a factor here. But yeah, Tough Claws with base 135 attack is much higher than base 160 attack. If you want the exact math, I believe I said it in the Ursaring video, but quickly I'll just do the math. 369 times 1.3. 479. 190, yeah, 190 base attack, which is 30 points higher than Slaking's base 160. 160 base attack is not crazy in this hack. It is not crazy at all. It's very strong, don't get me wrong, but it's not that fast. It's not that bulky. It is bulky, don't get me wrong. Slaking is pretty damn tanky now, despite the quote-unquote nerfs to its stats. I did give it more special defense, because basically, I'll talk about the nitty-gritty in a second, but I just want to compare it to stuff like Ursaring, for example, because I want people to understand that there's no realistic way that I can make Slaking keep Truant and still be a good Pokemon, because it would be horribly outclassed by mons like Snorlax, Tauros, Kangaskhan, Ursaring, Exploud, Stoutland, Bufalon. Like, those mons would all just horribly outclass it as bulky, physically offensive, pure normal types. It would just be outclassed. And so Slaking has a really good niche here. Not even niche, it's just a really fun mon to use. Yeah, it's kind of similar to mons like Ursaring and Kangaskhan and all those other mons, but ultimately it is different. Ursaring is bulkier with Intimidate, but then you're not nearly as strong. So that's where the abilities are important, because Slaking is both strong and relatively tanky at the same time. And it has a really good move pool, so we'll get into that as well. But as for the abilities, yes, I did go with Unaware and Gluttony. So Unaware is a great ability. Again, keep in mind in this ROM hack, you do have access to infinite use ability capsules, and so you should be switching between your abilities to, you know, fight against certain boss trainers. Like, oh, this boss fight has this Pokemon with a boosting ability. Let me run Unaware. Oh, otherwise, let me just run Gluttony plus Wiki Berry, which is just a good combo just for healing, because in this hack, you don't have access to healing items. You can't use potions anymore. So, you know, stuff like Slack Off and Swallow is good for healing, Rest, Sleep Talk, etc. But another really good option for healing is Gluttony plus Wiki Berry or any of the other pinch berries. Those are great. Not to mention, he has access to Gluttony plus Belly Drum at level 70. He is the Gluttony Belly Drum Mon, no longer that is Lanoon. He also has Quick Attack and Sucker Punch for priority. So at level 70, which is roughly around the time you'll get into the Pokemon League, maybe with Hapu and Gladion there beforehand, you're level 70, and you can just straight up belly drum, gluttony, pop your berry back to full HP, and then go with quick attack, sucker punch, and sweep a lot of boss fights with your good bulk. Obviously, it's a lot easier said than done. There's going to be a lot, you know, taunt, that kind of thing, but you can also always use Z belly drum with unaware or something, or you know, that kind of thing. Z belly drum bypassing taunt, which is great. And there's other ways that trainers are going to be able to stop you, you know, whirlwind and roar are priority now, that kind of thing. Sash plus haze, and the haze is kind of niche, but for trainers, for the player, it's great. But I digress. Unaware is a very fitting ability for Slaking, given that, I mean, like, look at this man. Like, he's a giant fucking gorilla sloth monster. And then Slakoth also has Unaware because it's a literal sloth and they don't care about anything and they just sit all day and do nothing. As for Gluttony, it makes a lot of sense. It literally says here, foragers Slaking gather around trees when fruits come into session. They wait around patiently for fruits to fall out of trees. It eats all the grass within reach when lying prone to the ground. The technologies are kind of funny, man. Never read it before, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, to have that. I considered Sap Sipper instead, but that's one. I kind of wanted to give Slaking like abilities that aren't that good, if that makes sense, because his stats are what makes him incredible here. Obviously, his abilities are very good. Don't get me wrong, Unaware is a great ability, man. But and Gluttony is also very useful. But like Sap Sipper would be a little bit much, in my opinion. Not to mention Miltank has Sap Sipper. Miltank is a bulky pure normal type with good physical attack and good bulk. So Miltank has Sap Sipper and Thick Fat, so I didn't want to give Slaking Sap Sipper as well. So that's why I went with Unaware and Gluttony. I think both of those abilities fit very well. I did have Scrappy at one point, but there's another pure normal type of Scrappy that does it better than Slaking would. I'm sure you can probably guess what it would be. It's actually coming up really soon, so that kind of gives you the answer. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Give me a second. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, alright, Unaware Gluttony, great. 160 base attack. Again, it's really good. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not trying to undersell how strong he is, but he's not that fast. You know, you can run Choice Scarf, that's great. Choice Scarf is great. Quick Attack, Sucker Punch is great. Burst Impression is great with priority. Bulky sets with AV are great. You know, Drain Punch AV, 115 base HP is still very good. HP is based more on size now in this hack, so, you know, he's giant, but he's not that giant. He's just a big fat gorilla. So I gave him 115 base HP, which is still very, very, very good. And then he has 80 in both defenses, which is very logical. Just looking at his design, he looks like he should have base 80 in both bulk, maybe 85 or 90 at most. He has also a semi-pseudo. I didn't even clarify that yet. Yes, there is something called semi-pseudo legendaries in his hack. Those pseudo-legendaries all follow the 335, 455, 575 base stat total pattern, or at least most of them do, not all of them. But the final evolution will always be 575 base stat total. There's a lot of Pokemon that are 575 base stat total in this hack now, including non-3-stage mons. There's a lot of single-stage mons that are going to be 575 base stat total, or one-stage evolution mons. So, sorry, non-evolving and then one-stage mons is my point, okay? However, there is a good amount of semi-pseudo-legendaries. A couple other that come to mind is like Magmortar, Electivire, those kinds of mons. And those are just because they need the base stat total, or because they just look like they should be really powerful. Slaking, obviously, I could have even gone with a full pseudo, but Gen 3 has 3 pseudos now, with Flygon, Metagross, and Salamence, and I think 3 should be the limit for most generations in this hack. Maybe 4, maybe if I really want to stretch it, but Slaking doesn't need the pseudo status. He's already great as he is right now. And if I did make him a pseudo, he would just have slightly more defense and speed. So he would have like 90 bulk and an 85 speed, which is better, but like I don't think he needs the buff at all. Yeah, Unaware Gluttony are great, okay? Unaware is great. There's tons of new boosting moves and items in this hack, so, you know, being able to completely shut those down and just sit on their faces and just not give a fuck is very fitting for Slaking, and I like it a lot. And you can always heal up with stuff like Slack Off or other stuff. Slakoth, however, does not have Gluttony because it doesn't really make that much sense on Slakoth. If you read his dex entries, it talks about how it only eats like a couple leaves a day, and that's all it gives a fuck. Like, it's vibing. He's a cute little guy. So Gluttony doesn't make as much sense as it does on Slaking, who's a giant fat gorilla who eats a lot. Slakoth doesn't eat a lot, so I didn't think Gluttony made sense. And actually, this is the only Truant Pokemon in the hack. Durant no longer has Truant, so Truant is... I just pronounced it 3 different ways, man. Truant is great on Slakoth because for early game, from levels 1 through 20, which is essentially all of Melemele Island besides Hala, you have access to Truant plus entrainment at level 1. And what that does, I'm sure what we all know what that does, it gives the opponent entrainment, Truant, and then what you can do is you have the Protect TM available to you at that point. You can literally just switch into your Pokemon, your teammate. Alright, you get that entrainment off on turn 1, there's no taunt that early in the game, for the most part, so you could, basically it's really good for like, you're going to be getting it probably in a Verdant Cavern, so You can really only use it for 2 boss fights, and then for Hala you'll be evolving. Although you could, honestly, you low-key totally could not evolve Slack off until 21 or 22. You could even not evolve it for long. You could not evolve it. You could do entrainment. You could do entrainment Truant on like all kinds of. You could do it on all the fucking totems. You know, focus sash for Marowak and forward. You'll have access to focus sash. Obviously they have protect and there's an ally, so it'll be a little bit harder to pull that off. But and also the allies might have taunt and stuff. But you know, they'll protect the first turn, then they'll taunt you. Now you can't do it anymore. But the point is, you totally could work around a strategy and actually get that Truant entrainment off onto a totem. So you could actually wait to evolve your Suck Up if you wanted to. However, it's not intended to be an Eviolite Mon. It's a little bit gimmicky. I would recommend just getting the Vigoroth for the power and the speed and stuff, but that's just me. I honestly actually would low-key consider not evolving for a couple levels, maybe for a Araquanid, for example. Say I'm doing a Team Lock Nuzlocke and my team is super weak to Araquanid, I would go for that. Because that's a guaranteed win. Literally all you have to do is just... Well, it's not guaranteed, excuse me. I'm being very generous, because with the allies, then the allies make things way more complicated, so it's not that easy, but it's still really good nonetheless. And regardless, in single battles, for example, with Dulce and Hao in Melee May Island, those two are boss fights before Hala, you can just sweep them for free. Literally, all you have to do is press Truant Entrainment, turn 1, switch into your Pokemon, and spam Work Up 3 times, because that's the next VP for Work Up, if I remember correctly. You get 3 Work Ups up, now you're sweeping. So plus your attack, plus that priority move should be enough to sweep both those battles on if you're using the right Pokemon. So there you go. You know, it's free. It's really, really cool, and I like Truant Entrainment a lot on Slackoff. And it makes it so that you don't miss out on that cool little strategy. Otherwise, you have Unaware. Unaware's not too good early game in terms of Melee Island, because not that much has boosting moves, only Work Up. And, like, that's really about it. A couple other random small things, maybe, like, Defense Curl doesn't matter because that's not an offensive boost, so... Yeah, for the most part, it's just for Work Up, which is not terrible. And again, if you wanted to wait to evolve Slackoff, you technically could use a Violet Unaware Slackoff, but I mean, yeah, you could if you wanted to, but you would have to try to evolve every level. It'd be kind of obnoxious. So that's Slackoff for you, okay? It's pretty tanky, 60, 60, 60 bulk. 75 attack is pretty solid. It has those claws, so why not give it a decent attack stat? 50 special attack is just for the base stat total, because I wanted it to be equivalent to like Nidoran. The rest another semi-pseudo. Nido King and Nido Queen are semi-pseudos as well. So those mons follow 335, 455, 575. Also, Mamoswine is 575, and then Taloswine is 455. It's the same deal, okay? Those are semi-pseudos. Those are true semi-pseudos. There's going to be another one coming up soon as well, so stay tuned for those. Lastly, we have Vigoroth. So Vigoroth, I'm also going to cover the moves in a second, I promise, but Vigoroth is great as well. You could totally use a Violet Vigoroth if you wanted to. It's slightly tankier than Slaking, I think, overall with a Violet. However, that is only with a Violet. You know, you're kind of giving up an item. However, you do have really good abilities. You have Moxie and Defiant, both of which are very fitting abilities for Vigoroth, given his energetic nature. I wanted to give him Hustle, but we have too many Hustle. Like, there's already Eradicate with a Hustle as a Hustle pure normal type, so I didn't want to make Vigoroth clash too much with Eradicate there. So Moxie and Defiant, we don't have either of those abilities on a pure normal type in the hack, so there you go. Very unique in terms of pure normal types, and it's great abilities, all right? 100 base speed. He is faster than Slaking for obvious reasons, just looking at his design. And then he has very good attack for that point in the game. 95 attack is pretty solid. You also have setup like Bulk Up, which is great. And then also Vigoroth still gets Belly Drum and stuff. So you can totally use Bulk Up, like Drain Punch, a Violet sets or something. That would be pretty great. Or Slack Off, like Bulk Up, Slack Off, a Violet Moxie. That'd be really good. You know, that kind of stuff is always great. Again, you also have tons and tons of coverage moves which you should be swapping between. So say for one boss fight, you need Fire Punch to hit their Pokemon. Next fight, you need Ice Punch. Next fight, you need Knockoff. Next fight, you need Gunk Shot. Next fight, you need First Impression. You know, you should definitely be swapping your moves often. You shouldn't just be keeping the same moves the entire hack, unless you want to. You know, if you're just playing this for fun and you're just using fun shit, go ahead and just use whatever you would like. But if you're doing Hardcore Nuzlocke, you know, you're going to be struggling if you just try to run the same thing every battle. You're going to have to adapt to a lot of the boss fights and make use of your vast move pool. Yeah, that's really about it. He gets Quick Attack and Fake Out. Quick Attack, Fake Out, Sucker Punch, First Impression. Those are all great priority moves for Slaking and Vigoroth, but especially Slaking with that 160 base attack. Of course, I want to emphasize 160 base attack is not crazy. I can literally list like 20 mons right now that outdamage Slaking by a large margin because of all the strong new abilities. And abilities are a really big deal. People undersell how strong abilities are. Even just a simple 1.2 boost from an ability would make like 120 base attack equal to like 160. Like, that's how base stats work. And obviously, Slaking has the benefit of being able to use abilities on top of the 160 base attack, so I'm not saying that it's like worse or anything. I'm just saying people might look at the attack side and be like, oh my god, he's broken, but he's not at all. He's very balanced. He's honestly not even that remarkable. He's just a good mon. He's just like, he's on par with mons like Ursa Ring and other really good pure normal types. He's really cool. I fucking love Slaking. I love the changes here. Super awesome. Great utility. He's super tanky. You have stuff like Yawn, Parting Shot, Slack Off, Stockpile plus buffed Swallow. Another really cool thing I need to mention is for priority, by the way, I didn't mention this yet, is Fling. Fling is massively reworked, so if you check the Howl Venom's changes and buffs, you can also find that on the move sheet, but I prefer this version. You can see all the Fling buffs and changes as well as the other item buffs and changes. Fling buffs are super sick, so essentially, once you beat Nanu, you get access to Toxic Flame and Zap Plates, and those now are 100 base power. Not to mention, Fling is a normal type move now, for reasons that I'll have to add Slaking to the Fling section. Actually, let me do that. There's like a little section on the move sheet for signature moves, and Fling is like a relatively signature move, so let's put that there. Oh, go. So like Ambit Palm, Primeape, Farfetch, like mons that either hold items or are monkeys, because haha, monkey throw poop is literally, that's it. It's just that simple. So Ambit Palm has Stab, Fling, also Blissey technically does as well. It's actually not terrible on Blissey either because it's good utility, but it's great on Slaking because you have 160 base attack. And so what you can do is you can run Fling plus Zap Plate, or Zap Plate to paralyze, Flame Plate to burn, and this is also a priority move as well. You need to keep that in mind. So this is a priority move, okay? It's incredibly powerful. So Fling plus Iron Ball is incredible. Fling plus Iron Ball is 150 base power priority move. You can also use Fling plus Recycle. That's a great combo. Recycle is a tutor move, and it has priority as well. So you can use Recycle to recycle your Iron Ball. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. If it doesn't work that way, then forgive me. Maybe Recycle only works for certain items. I kind of forget. But if it works for any item, then or most items, then there you go. You can recycle that Iron Ball and get 150 base power priority moves several times in a row. Obviously, it takes a second turn to charge up, but it's still really good with 160 base attack. So Iron Ball Fling is incredible on Slaking with priority, and it also, obviously, the priority ignores the speed drop from Iron Ball. And then you have Toxic and Flame and Zap Plate for utility. Toxic for toxicing them. Flame Plate is the best one, obviously, because Burn is very, very powerful. And then you also have King's Rock, which is 90 base power, so it's significantly weaker than Iron Ball. And it doesn't status like Toxic Flame and Zap Plate. However, King's Rock will always flinch, which is really good. King's Rock is awesome, that always flinches 90 base power. It's basically like a fake out that you can use at any point, and you can also recycle that and just get, fake out King's Rock, whatever. You can also use real fake out with that. You can also use First Impression with that. First Impression is a great move on Slaking to teach via TM for certain situations. If you need to hit a fast Pokemon that's faster than you and you need to kill it, First Impression, 90 base power. It also crits, it's 60 base power, it always crits, so bypasses stuff like Intimidate. It's a great move on Slaking. Soccer Punch is great, it hits ghost types, it's priority as well, obviously, 75 base power. Slaking has tons of awesome stuff. As for normal stab, it has also very good normal stab options, so a lot of normal type moves are buffed. I mean, all moves are buffed or changed in some regard. Another thing I need to mention is that in this ROM hack, you can and should be looking at the move changes and stuff. There's a very detailed move guide in the description down below on the Google Sheets. You can look at all these move buffs and changes for yourself. Basically, every single move is changed or buffed in some regards. I would definitely consider checking that out. So for Slaking, normal type moves are great. So you do have access to, basically I'm going to list them in like order of when you get them. So Fake Out, Quick Attack are great, obviously. Rage is very good. Rage is 80 base power now. And it gives you +1 attack as long as you keep clicking it and they hit you. So with your Great Bulk, you can actually use Rage. For example, Rage, Moxie, Vigoroth is great. Or Rage, Defiant, Vigoroth, whatever it is, switch between your abilities. That's another thing, is Moxie is a great ability, but so is Defiant. For some boss fights, maybe they have an Intimidate mon, maybe they have a stat-dropping move. In fact, in the mid-game, in the mid-20s, basically every single Pokemon gets at least one stat-dropping move. Stuff like Tickle, Sweet Scent, that kind of stuff. Charm, Befriend, all these great moves. Basically, every Pokemon gets at least one of those. So most likely to get 2 or 3 of them, honestly. And that's great. That's really great because that gives you a Defiant boost for +2 attack. So don't sleep on Defiant. Moxie is great, of course, but it does take some snowballing versus Defiant. You can switch it in. Also on a lot of other moves. There's a lot of moves that always drop stats now. You can check that out in the description down below as well. Again, there's sections and they're all labeled and everything. So, for example, if you go to the table of contents, here it says all attacks are always lower the foe stats. You click that. Now you got all these moves. So, switch your Vigoroth on a Skitter Smack, a Mystical Fire, Struggle Bug, Dismal Cry, Aurora Beam, Feather Ball, Skirmish, Breaking Swipe, Trap Kick, Harmonize, Disarming Voice, Rock Tomb, Lunge, Acid Spray, all these moves, alright, Bubble Shot, Bubble Barrage, all kinds of these moves that drop speed or attack or defense are great to switch in with Defiant. So that's definitely a big buff to Defiant in this hack. Definitely don't sleep on that. And of course, Moxie's great as well. So pick between the 2 abilities. For situations, maybe for trainer fights, you might run Moxie, otherwise run Defiant. If it's more useful for totems, you might run a Defiant, that kind of thing, So it's really as simple as that. Great abilities nonetheless. What else is there? Normal type moves, yeah. So Rage is great. Rage is great with the Moxie or Defiant. It's also great on Slaking. For example, Gluttony, Wikiberry, Rage is a great set because you get that HP back, and you get that attack booster each time you click it. Rage is great in that case, and that's very powerful with Stab. Of course, 80 base power without Stab is great already, let alone with Stab. And then you have Body Slam and Retaliate. Body Slam is 90 base power, and it has a 30% chance to paralyze, which is just a very solid normal type Stab move. Retaliate is 95 base power, but it has less PP than Body Slam, and it doesn't have the paralysis chance. However, it is 5 points stronger, which is better. It's still 100% accurate, just like Body Slam is. And Retaliate will obviously double to 190 goddamn base power if something just died on your team. Of course, if you're doing a Nuzlocke, that's not really that relevant, or it is relevant, but it's not ideal. You know, you don't want your monster to be fainting unless you don't give a fuck about your Pokemon, in which case you're lame, and you're using Death Fodder and stuff. I mean, you know, if you want to play that way, go ahead, but I will judge you heavily for using Death Fodder and Nuzlocks. But anyways, yeah, this is unrelated, but Retaliate's great, okay? Retaliate's very powerful. That's incredibly powerful. 160 base attack Retaliate after something just died. For example, trainers will totally abuse that on you. You also get Double Edge, Giga Impact, and Strength, which are all great moves. Double Edge is 125 base power and deals 25% recoil, and has a 50% chance to drop the opponent's defense stat, which is great. Giga Impact is 160 base power and always drops your attack stat by 2. It's no longer recharge. Also, tons of other moves do that same effect, such as Hyper Beam, Superpower, Leap. You know, all these other new moves have that new effect. You can find that section in the description down below as well. So I would check that as well. But that's great. Giga Impact is very powerful. 160 base power on that first hit. That second hit is 80 base power, which is not bad at all. You know, for that second hit, and that's only if you're using it twice in a row. You also have stuff like Slash, Cross Chop, Night Slash that would bypass the attack drop, because they would crit. Well, they have a 50% chance to crit, so with the Scope Lens they always crit, so that's great as well. Again, you have great utility. Battle Cry is incredible. Amnesia Stockpile is incredible. Swallow is buffed, and that it gives you it's priority now, and it always heals you by full. So say you click Stockpile once, and then you know, kill the opponent, or you power a punch, or whatever the fuck you want to do, or Drain Punch, etc. And then you Swallow when you need the HP back. And that's a priority move, so it's almost like you're using a max potion. Even with only one stockpile boost, you still get full Swallow health, which is really, really cool. A really good buff. I like it a lot. Again, tons of awesome coverage. Acrobatics with Fling is also great. So like Iron Ball, Fling, 150 base power priority move, normal type Stab, and then you can click Acrobatics for flying coverage, 100 base power overall, which is really great. It's such an awesome change here. I love this, how Slaking turned out. It's really fun. Strength is great. Strength is normal type close combat, so that's a really, really, really good option. I would say Double Edge might be better in some cases because number one, it's stronger. Number two, it has that chance to drop defense. Number three, you have Shell Bell, which can heal recoil. So you can use like Double Edge plus Play Rough, Wild Charge, Rock Climb, Takedown, which are all recoil moves. And Shell Bell will heal off the vast majority of that recoil, or all of it, depending on which move it is. Because Shell Bell is buffed to heal by 20% now, so the TMs will heal all the recoil, versus Double Edge you only take 5% overall in net recoil, which is great. So that's a great set. Shell Bell Slaking is pretty solid. Of course, you can still use Strength though, especially on like an agility set. For example, you might want Strength instead, which is nice. It's a TM, so you can always pick. Same goes for Giga Impact. You know, Retaliate still super reliable. It's great. All right, that's all the normal stab options. All right, and that goes for any other normal type Pokemon, obviously, or any other Pokemon in general. Those are just good moves to have. Yeah, utility is great. Get, you know, Encore, Yawn, Slack Off early game. Slack Off actually is one of the few Pokemon that have Slack Off and Yawn pre-Hala. Most Pokemon do not get those moves pre-Hala. They get them in the mid-20s for Akala Island. But I ended up giving Slack Off them early because, I mean, it doesn't make sense for Vigoroth to learn Slack Off. Like, naturally, it would make sense for Slack Off to learn it, not Vigoroth. So, yeah, also because his move pool was kind of sparse, so why not give him good utility moves like Slack Off, Entrainment, Encore, Yawn. Those are all really cool and unique. So I love that as well for Slack Off. And of course, like Vigoroth can abuse those as well. And Slaking. It was great. Battle Cry drops both the opponent's stats, attacking stats by 2, which is great with Slack Off or Stockpile or whatever. You can become super, super, super tanky, even just with Gluttony, Wikiberry. Like Gluttony, Wikiberry, Battle Cry, like it's just a great utility mon as well. Like you don't have to run offensive. Even with 0 attack investment, you're still very strong. Let's actually check exactly what you hit. You have 356 attack with 0 attack investment, which is great. That's like equal to like a Jolly 110 bit, sorry, an Adamant base 110 attack or 113 attack Pokemon. So that's really strong. With 0 attack investment, and you can always use, like, you can use max HP, max speed, or max HP, max defense, or max Spadef, and you can go full on, you know, bulk with Unaware or Gluttony and just be super good. You know, you don't need the attacking power all the time. It sometimes may be a little bit overkill, if anything. So that's really good. You can also min-max your EVs a lot because in this hack, not only do you have access to infinite use ability capsules, again, you should be switching between your abilities for the situation, not just keeping one ability. Not only do you have that, but you also have, what am I trying to say here? You also have access to, I just lost my train of thought. It was such a good point too. Crap. Damn, man. I don't remember. That's such a, it just completely lost me. Unaware gluttony, yeah, it's gone. Oh well. Yeah, tons of great coverage. I already covered it all. I mean, there's tons of also new buffs to these coverages, but you should honestly just check them out in the description below. Great utility, like I was saying. I was talking about utility, but I don't remember. Also, Circle Throw plus Unaware is great for phasing, because Circle Throw will obviously switch the opponent out, and that's negative priority, 90 base power, 100% accurate now. Same as Dragon Tail, so those are both great moves. So Unaware Slaking can use Circle Throw and just not give a fuck about a stat boost, and then switch the opponent out and remove the stat boost for your teammates. And then you can U-turn a parting shot out. You know, it's a really good utility, man. Oh, I was talking about the EVs. Yeah, so EV training. You can easily speed creep mons, or you can tailor your EVs for specific fights. You can run calcs and make sure you can live a certain hit, you know, run really weird EV spreads because you do have access to infinite and instantaneous EV training items in the hack. The vitamins just give flat out 126 EVs, so that's for easy, simple, max. However, the wings give +4, so you can use the wings to count your EVs. That's great for slacking. So, you know, one fight you might need, you know, 100 attack investment to get a certain KO on a certain Pokemon on that trainer's team, and you might need 128 HP to live a certain hit. You know, and then when the rest goes in Spin F to live a certain hit, you know, that kind of thing. So you can really EV, you can really get a lot of leverage out of your EVs on Slaking, which is really cool. So yeah, you really love to see it. I'm really happy with how Slaking turned out. I think, hopefully you guys are as well. There's other little changes I could talk about, like Flail Reversal, Endure, Lychee Berry sets are very, very powerful. You know, Reversal for coverage on Steels and Rocks, and then Flail, and you also have Sucker Punch for Ghosts, or Shadow Punch, or all these other moves, but I would probably run Sucker Punch on that, because they're not that fast. So Lackberry is also great though, if you want to run a speedy set with Endure and Flail and Reversal. So Lackberry Endure is really useful. Endure is a TM, so you can easily just teach that whenever you need it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it out there. I think I covered everything pretty thoroughly. A couple other small things I could talk about, you know, like Payback and Hammer Arm are good moves, and you can just check out what those do in the description down below. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it off here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely did. I'm really happy with how Slaking turned out. Hopefully, you know, you can see that it's good, but not overpowered. It's just another really strong pure normal type. There's tons of other ones. It's still great though. I don't want to undersell it, but I also don't want to oversell it, because people might just look at that attack and be like, oh my god, broken, because that's what some people just naturally gravitate towards thinking. But you know, that's not how this works. So, yeah, still a great mon though, nonetheless. Really, really awesome Pokemon. Really, really powerful. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye. I'll be back for more later. See ya.